NCAA Division II basketball.
Keyshawn's got the basketball now. They got 5 on the shot clock. He pops and makes it for 2. 2 points for Keyshawn.
I say it all the time. He makes the amazing look ordinary.
And the Jags.
Okay, Chad Cook here with Ashley Brown. Ashley, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Appreciate you having me.
So let's talk college hoops. I was at the Jags game Saturday, the 73-72 win over Pembroke, and I noticed that Keshawn Cheryl is second in the nation in scoring in Division II at 26.3 points per game. At the time, Denzel Dillingham of Paine College was right behind him at number 3, and I thought about you. We saw what I believe to be the game of the year when Augusta University beat Paine. I think it was 117-108 in overtime. I believe that was the game of the year. We saw those two guys play so well that night, so I wanted to see if I could get you into a conversation about local college basketball, be it the guys who are playing in our area right now or the guys from our area who are playing elsewhere, starting with Keshawn Sherrill and Denzel Dillingham. What a great night that was versus Paine, right?
Yeah, incredible. I think that both those guys are just spectacular. There's no question about it. I don't think people in the area realize how good they are. And then when you throw out, one of them second in the nation and actually led in the country in scoring at one point, and then you got another player that's top 5 in the country in scoring. And we've had better teams maybe. USC Aiken's had some of those great national championship contenders. Obviously, Augusta has as well. But I don't know that we've had ever a situation where we've had 2 better individual players on separate teams. Now, Augusta had that run where they had A.J. Bowman and they had Garrett Seiler and they had Ben Madgen. But to have them, and USC Aiken's had some great individual players, Chris Coleman and some other ones. But I don't know that we've ever had a better 2 that can go at it head-to-head like these 2. Denzel Dillingham is kind of a throwback. He's old, kind of reminds me of an old-school kind of mid-range player. He kind of just he doesn't look like he's doing a whole lot to get by you. He doesn't look super quick. He doesn't look super athletic. But then you look, and he's beating his man off the dribble just enough to get a shot. He's moving off the screen and knocking down a quick jumper with a quick release. And then you look at the box score, and the guy's got 43, 41, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Now, with Keyshawn, it stands out a little more because he's so athletic. He gets up so high on his jump shot, and he's so fast out there. Maybe he kind of stands out more, even though he's 5'9". But both those guys have super, super qualities that make them really special. And I wish the public would even get out more so they can see how good these guys are.
So just to recap a little bit of some of the feats that these guys have accomplished this season, you've got that game we saw where Dillingham went for 40 on one side, Keshun Sherrill went for 30 on Augusta's side and got the win. Since then, Paine earned a home win over Peach Belt participant North Georgia, and Denzel Dillingham made 15 out of 17 field goals. He made 6 of 7 threes and 4 for 4 from the line for 40 points in 40 minutes. Keshawn Cheryl, on the other hand, scored a career-high 43 points versus Coastal Georgia in front of 2,500 fifth graders from the Richmond County school system. He again is averaging 26 points per game, second in the league. And what I like about Keshawn is that he definitely scores, and he scores in high volume, but he scores with a purpose, and he is a winner. And you mentioned the team maybe not being as good as they have been at the high water marks, and that is, in my opinion, making this year with the Augusta University Jaguars the most entertaining that it can be, short of going and winning a national championship or something like that. So what I mean by that is Keyshawn is so important and so called upon. So I isolated an example, Ashley, from last game where Francis Marion went up 30-26. The Jags had lost all momentum, and Keshawn finds himself above the top of the key, about 10 feet behind the top of the key, with about 7 seconds on the shot clock, and the other team's in a 2-3 zone. So what are you going to do with that? and he goes all the way around the guy going left.
Yeah.
And gets into the teeth of the defense and makes this jump.
I'm watching the video you posted right now, actually, as you say that. So
isn't that great? I mean, what a play by a 5'8" guard, with a short clock, and just he does that time and time again. Everything has a purpose. He had the 43, and they won because he had to have 43 for them to win that day.
Yeah.
And so it's really exciting. I love watching him, and so win or loss, like take the Mount Olive game, a great Mount Olive team. The Jags were in it in the final minute because Keyshawn had scored 34 points, and 32 of them came after the 15-minute mark. In other words, with 5 minutes to go in the first half, he had 2 points and he scored 34. So he's been amazing, and I'm glad you're here to talk to me about it. I want to get into now 2 other college players.
Well, can I jump in real quick and say one more thing about Keyshawn?
Please do.
You mentioned something real important, Chad. The fact he's 5'8" or 5'9" or whatever he is. They better be really glad he's 5'8". Usually once you got to be bigger, they better be really glad he's 5'8", because if not, he'd be in the SEC or ACC.
Goodness.
If he
try this, Ashley. I'm sorry to interrupt you, and then you go right back to it. But do you think, is there a guard in Georgia, South Carolina, and I don't want to claim to know everything about North Carolina and Alabama, but what college guard is better than Keyshawn that's around here in any way?
Yeah, well, I agree, especially in Georgia and South Carolina. Even the Gamecocks are doing so well. I don't see there being a true point guard any better. Obviously you got maybe Marcus Page at North Carolina and some others. But as far as Georgia and South Carolina, the 2 states we cover the most, I agree. As a matter of fact, the guy who is probably the one I would go to is not at Georgia, not at Georgia Tech, not at Carolina or Clemson. It's Tukey Brown at Georgia Southern. As I'd say, the one that's the stiffest competition for him. He was just named Sun Belt Player of the Week, true freshman out of Morgan County. But the great thing about it, you brought up a good point about him. The fact that last year he was an All-American, he averaged 18 points a game, but he had a lot more help around him. This year he's got a lot of new parts, a lot of young players, a lot of freshmen playing a ton of minutes. Not just that, but a lot of guys you might see come in and play 25 minutes one night, they might see 5 minutes the next.
Yes.
He's having to really play this year because he doesn't have a clue what's going to happen from game to game as they're still kind of finding their real unit. Jayshawn Brooks one game might score 18 and play 25 minutes. Well, the next night, he might only play 7-8 minutes. You don't know. And I think the fact that he's been able to be so consistent with teams knowing that what they've got to do is stop him, the fact that he's been able to keep doing it at such a high level is just remarkable, really, to me.
It really is. And so you wrote, I think, what is maybe the second all-time most read post on my blog, augball.com, and it was about Don, Coleman, and Darius Williams of Butler High School and Josie, respectively, freshmen this year at two separate junior colleges and playing great. Talk about that. Like, how much fun was that to really get into all those details and get to know exactly how great these two guys are doing?
Well, a couple things. First off, I sort of hate it when we have players. I write for the Columbia County paper, and I do a sports talk show, fine. But my writing is usually all about Columbia County players. So it's frustrating for me sometimes when I see so many good players, especially in basketball, that are from, Richmond County, Aiken County, other areas, that go off and do great things in college. Because, sure, I can mention them on my radio show, but I'm not able to really put all the facts out on paper the way you can in a column or a story. So when I saw what these two guys were doing as true freshmen, both playing JUCO ball, and sometimes people don't realize how good that level of play can be. When I saw what they were doing, just playing lights out, I contacted you and said, man, do you mind if I write this? I'd like to do it. And I'm a stat guy, too, so all the stats they were putting up were fun. And just going and breaking down how well they were playing. Of course, Dante from Butler was known in high school kind of as a gunner and a guy that, didn't meet a shot he didn't like. But he's really refined his game a lot. He's averaging over 6.5 assists a game. I noticed that. That was one of the things that stood out to me. And to step right in as a true freshman in the Alabama JUCO and to be in the top 5 in scoring, to be in the, he was in the, I think he was first or second in assists. His shooting percentage was better in college than it was his senior year in high school. I just looked at things like that and thought he deserves a little recognition. And the same thing with Darius. Sometimes when you go away, you get forgotten. And I think Darius probably maybe more so than even Dante would have gotten forgotten a little bit down in Florida if not for a great site like you have, augball.com, and us, bringing it up, because Darius was scoring at a crazy rate, 39 one game, 33 the next, averaging 20 a game. And this is from a guy that when they did their season prospectus, their coach, they have a ton of newcomers. Their coach mentioned 5 newcomers by name. Darius wasn't even mentioned in the prospectus, and now he's their leading scorer, averaging 20 a game. So I just felt like they deserved a little recognition. And these guys who play at the lower, smaller level, that are doing great things, I just like when they get the recognition as well.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing that post. Again, that was like the most well-read, the most read segment that I've ever had.
I had somebody proofread it and fix all my errors.
Well, send them my way. I need one of those guys.
There you go.
Now, and you mentioned me knowing guys, and there's one guy I know better than anybody, and one guy I'm prouder of. Well, sounds bad to say I'm prouder of, but so proud of. His name's Matt Miller. So let's end with him. You mentioned smaller colleges. Matt's at a Division III school, U.S. Merchant Marines Academy. He's there of his own choice. It's a really great opportunity to be there. But they are up in New York, and Matt's averaging 14.2 points per game, following last year's, I think, right about 16 points per game. He coming off of New Year's, he scored 23 points and one win, and then since then they've won 2 straight after that. So they're now 3-3 in their conference. They just, I won't say upset, they just beat what is regarded as the conference's best team. Matt had 14 that game. Yeah. Now, before we go, do you want to talk about high school?
Yeah, just briefly, I want to, folks, if you aren't using Chad's service in his site, you're crazy, first off. As far as high school basketball, we've never had anything like this, augball.com. From him posting whether, all the different games he goes to, it's just phenomenal. The coverage is great. I just wanted to ask you real quick, first off, how many young players are getting it done at the varsity level now compared to what it used to be? I mean, we've got Lakeside's top player right now is a freshman. I know they got a newcomer that's a really good interior player, but Greenbrier's got a real key player that's a freshman getting it done. We've got a ton of teams that are counting on sophomores. Are you just stunned by these young guys stepping up the varsity level and being ready to play right away?
Yes, I am, and I am also taken aback by the mixture of not just young but Columbia County talent, young and from that area. Mm-hmm. So Deane Williams at Lakeside, he is, in my opinion, one of the 3 best players in town, period, and he's only 14 years old. the guy is absolutely impressive in every way. Richard Crawford at Greenbrier, a freshman, was the key player in their first region win Tuesday night. And then, for instance, a guy named Chris Williams at Grovetown Middle School is the best 8th grader I've seen. And so these guys are all over the place. And a guy like Ryan Jolly at Augusta Prep, who's a 10th grader. So they're all over the place. They're very good, and they're impacting. Like take this Friday, I'm featuring 3 games. And one of them is Lakeside Richmond. Another is Augusta Prep at Gatewood, which is in Madison, Georgia. And then the other one's Westside and Josie. So 2 of the 3 are in very large part due to the fact that, these young guys at these Columbia County schools are playing so well. So that is different, and it's neat, I think.
Yeah, it's fun to see. It's fun to see. You're right. Last year at the middle school all-star game, of the top 5 or 6 players, 4 of them were from Columbia County, which has just never happened before. That is great to see. And, of course, we've got some great teams on the Richmond County side as well. When you look at the Richmond Academies and you look at, on the back in McDuffie County with Thompson and, Cross Creek. But I think when you talk basketball in high school, if you don't mention the dynamic duo at Laney, Zep Jasper and Christian Keeling, you're sort of missing out. Those 2 just know how to win, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I need my head examined for not making one of the 3 gyms when Laney plays Butler Friday night. So, yeah, those guys are amazing. They're having Christian Keeling and Zep Jasper are having magical seasons. They are undefeated. They have come back from down 6 or more points in the fourth quarter 4 times, come back from down 13 or more 3 times. All 3 times Zep Jasper seals the comeback with the go-ahead 3 with under a minute to go. It's just absolutely storybook stuff. Zep Jasper misses a game in a tournament, and Christian Keeling scores 43, and they win. They haven't lost. They've won under the most dire circumstances. They're averaging 20 and 25 points per contest. I have never seen guys around here have better high school careers than those 2 guys. They're going to get 100 wins where they were either the 2 best or the 2 or 3 best players on the team. They're going to get 100 wins when they were, in that situation from all the way from freshman to now graduating. And it's I just get kind of like goosebumps when I watch them play because it's so neat what they've been able to accomplish.
Well, and the fact that they lost, Jayshawn Brooks, who's at Augusta University, they lost Jalen Taylor, who's at Tampa. They lost 2 or 3 other really key guys, and yet. So we knew Zep Jasper couldn't average 8 points a game the way he did last year. He just ran the show. Well, this year he's averaging 20. And Christian Keeling, I don't know that I've ever seen any player improve more. I knew Zep Jasper. I figured he'd be fine. But I did not know Christian Keeling was going to be able to do what he's doing, scoring at 25 points a game. And when he has to, putting in 35 or 40, and even over 40. His progression this year has just been remarkable. I knew he was a good player. Obviously, he's a D1 signee, but he's even been better than I thought he would be this season. And like I said, folks, you can find out all that info, man. Just follow what Chad's doing at augball.com and follow him on Twitter and obviously Facebook, and he's posting videos on YouTube. Just great stuff, Chad. Keep up the good work, man. You're doing awesome with it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and thanks for writing that post, and thanks for doing this with me. And just let me know anytime you want to do stuff.
All right. Take care, man. Thank you.